Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I probably have a book to tell you about, but rather than tell you about one book, I'm going to tell you about the 4 books that I bought from a trip to Liftbridge Bookshop yesterday and about my most recent tea box. So that makes this a tea and a book haul. All right, let's start with the tea. I'm actually drinking, or will be drinking, as soon as it finishes steeping behind me, one of the teas in the box this month already. So this is October's Sipsby Box. Sipsby, I say Sipsby. So whatever. And I'm using my That Which Does Not Kill You Mutates and Tries Again. I should have brought a spoon. I do have a honey spoon, but I don't really want to use it because it's going to change the flavor of the tea before I get a good taste of it. But distractions. It is a Ahmad tea strawberry sensation. So as you might expect, it is a black tea infused with strawberry flavors. Let's see what it has to say here. High caffeine. Perfect for 6 p.m. Ahmad Tea is a British family business with a long tradition. They supply tea for the royal collection, including Buckingham Palace. This tea is delicious hot or cold. And I'm pretty sure that I've had the strawberry sensation from them before. I really like fruit flavored teas cold. And honestly, I am someone who often makes tea and coffee for that matter, and then forgets about it long enough that I often have the opportunity to drink part of it cold. Okay, I'm gonna stir with the honey spoon against my preferred judgment. I need to take the tea bag out, which is why it's important to have a little tea dish in every single room. Who knows where you're gonna end up making tea? All right, the second tea is, did I already do the disclaimer? I am not a Sipsby rep. They do not pay me to tell you anything about these teas. I just like to share things with other people. This one is a blood orange boost. Apple, green tea, hibiscus blossoms, natural blood orange flavoring, blah, 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 blah. Low caffeine, so I don't know why they would call it a boost. This smooth green tea makes you feel instantly replenished and focused with bright, clean citrus notes and distinctive blood orange with rosemary, topped with a floral finish. And I think, I don't know. Yeah, they're loose in there rather than being in a tea bag. With the Sipsby subscription, you can tell them if you would prefer loose tea or bag tea. You can tell them if you want high caffeine, low caffeine. You can tell them if you want savory tea or sweet tea. I've also got Esther Gold. I don't think I've had one of these before. Contains caffeine, pure Darjeeling black tea in a distinguished brew. Delicate yet complex, floral yet fruity. This amazing tea has a refreshing, brisk taste with a fine balance of flavors. And then the final one, because we get 4, as we all know, is a yerba mate roasted. Contains caffeine. Savor the subtle roasted character of this South American herb that's high in antioxidant with energizing properties comparable to coffee without the buzz, jitters, or crash. So that's what yerba mate is supposed to be. Mate tea is supposed to be like a coffee alternative. I really like the strawberry. Really like the strawberry, you guys. Okay, so that's our tea box for October. I am currently reading White Horse by Erica T. Worth for the Genre Snaps Book Club. About halfway through. Honestly, I'm not loving it. It's more thriller than horror. like mystery. There's a lot of mystery. She's trying to find out what happened to her mother, who she thought abandoned her when she was an infant, but it turns out that maybe she was attacked by a monster, or maybe she was disappeared by the FBI. I don't know. We don't know. That's why we're reading it, so that we can know what happened. And next week on the 22nd, we're meeting in person to chat about it. So if you're local, come on down to the Little Theater Cafe around 5:45. And then we're going to see Sweeney Todd after that. This is massive. Zit for the last 2 days, and I like totally messed with it yesterday. And so now it's like raging. You know, but I'm the boss. Even though it looks like I've got, you know, some sort of nasty outbreak. But it's just a zit. So yesterday I went to the library to try and find Black Sheep, which is the new Rachel Harrison book. She's going to be at a local bookstore next weekend, I think, talking about the book and reading from it. And I don't like to talk to authors about their books before I've read the book, because even though it's not necessarily, they're not necessarily giving spoilers, any information can sometimes really like change the reading experience for me. So I went to the library. I was 7th on hold. That's never going to do, which means I had to go to the bookstore to get it instead. So they had one copy. She has been making the rounds. Apparently she lives somewhere around here. So she's been making the local rounds talking about this book since it came out last month. So I'm glad that they even had one. I'm going to read the summary to you. You tell me if you think you would want to read it. A cynical 20-something must confront her unconventional family's dark secrets in this fiery, irreverent horror novel from the author of Such Sharp Teeth and Cackle. I also have Cackle, but have not read it yet. Nobody has a normal family, but Vesper Wrights is truly something else. Vesper left home at 18 and never looked back, mostly because she was told that leaving the staunchy religious community she grew up in meant she couldn't return. But then an envelope arrives on her doorstep. Inside is an invitation to the wedding of Vesper's beloved cousin Rosie. It's to be hosted at the family farm. Have they made an exception to the rule? It wouldn't be the first time Vesper's been given special treatment. Is the invite a sweet gesture? An olive branch? A trap? Doesn't matter. Something inside her insists she go to the wedding, even if it means returning to the toxic environment she escaped. Even if it means reuniting with her mother, Constance, a former horror film star and forever ice queen. When Vesper's homecoming exhumes a terrifying secret, she's forced to reckon with her family's beliefs and her own crisis of faith in this deliciously sinister novel that explores the way family ties can bind us as we struggle to find our place in the world. So that is Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. She's all over the greater Rochester area right now at Barnes & Noble's. As far I've seen some of, because I follow her on Instagram, as far east as New York City, into PA, Maine, you know, all of that. She's on tour selling this book. She is a sweetie sweetheart. I did get to meet her when she was locally before this book came out, when Such Sharp Teeth came out in paperback. So she's a sweetie, and I'm following her on Instagram on my main, which is on, I don't follow a lot of like big authors on there. Okay, so when I was at Lithbridge Books, obviously I wasn't only going to get one book. Who does that? That's crazy. So I got 3 other ones. Joe Nesbro's The Night House, When the Voices Call, Don't Answer. I love a spooky house kind of like vibe. In the wake of his parents' tragic deaths in a house fire, 14-year-old Richard Olavid has been sent to live with his aunt and uncle in the remote insular town of Ballantine. Richard quickly earns a reputation as an outcast, and when a classmate named Tom goes missing, everyone suspects the new angry boy is responsible for his disappearance. No one believes him when he says the telephone booth out by the edge of the woods, sucked Tom into the receiver like something out of a horror movie. No one, that is, except Karen, a beguiling fellow outsider who encourages Richard to pursue clues the police refuse to investigate. His sleuthing leads him to an abandoned house in the Mirror Forest, where he catches a glimpse of a terrifying face in the window. And then the voices begin to whisper in his ear. She's going to burn. The girl you love is going to burn. There's nothing you can do about it. When another classmate disappears, Richard must find a way to prove his innocence and preserve his sanity as he grapples with the dark magic that is possessing Valentine and pursuing his destruction. Then again, Richard may not be the most reliable narrator of his own story. Ooh, see? See how, like, that's an enticing and intriguing sort of, like, hook, but also it leads you in particular directions around how you might approach Richard telling the story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a spoiler, but it's also a little bit of a spoiler. Even if it turns out to not be the spoiler you think it is, I prefer to know nothing. I'll be honest with you. Tell me nothing about the book other than the author or somebody who enjoys the same kind of books I do enjoyed it. Okay. The third book I got was Even Though I Knew the End. I don't think this is a horror book. I'm not totally sure. Let's read it. I don't remember why I got it, but there was something that I was like, get in it. Let's see. A magical detective. I love magic. A magical detective dives into the affairs of Chicago's divine monsters to secure a future with the love of her life. This sapphic period piece will dazzle anyone looking for mystery, intrigue, romance, magic, or all of the above. An exiled Auspex who sold her soul to save her brother's life is offered one last job before serving an eternity in hell. That sounds awesome. When she turns it down, her client sweetens the pot by offering up the one payment she can't resist, the chance to have a future where she grows old with the woman she loves. To succeed, she is given 3 days to track down the White City Vampire, Chicago's most notorious serial killer. If she fails, only hell and heartbreak await. If she fails, only hell and heartbreak await. I didn't read that whole thing, but I am so... Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk. I want to read this like immediately, but I'm in the middle of a book right now. The author of World Fantasy Witchmark, which I didn't read. It's a series, the first in a series. They are the appropriate pronouns. Worked as film extra, sold vegetables on the street, and identified exotic insect species for a vast collection of Lepidoptera before settling down to write Silver Fork fantasy novels. What's Silver Fork fantasy novels? I have some things to look up, it seems. Also, look at their picture. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. They're so cute. Okay. And then the final book I got was The Beast You Are by Paul Tremblay. Have I ever read a Paul Tremblay book, or do I just own 3 of them that I keep meaning to read? It is impossible to know. He's one of those authors that I think I'm really going to like. I've heard great things about. People I enjoy have said that they like him, and I do not know. This is a collection of short stories, which you know I hardly ever read, but it might give me a nice entry into the world of Paul Tremblay without having to commit to a whole book. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure I have 3 of them. I think he wrote all of them, but I'm not totally sure that's true. Yeah, that must be true. Okay, so I think this summary is like brief summaries of several of the stories. No one in New York City knows where the House of Windows came from, but it's exponentially expanding beyond its foundation, frightening the once fascinated Manhattanites and consuming valuable Fifth Avenue real estate. Okay. Truth, lies, and perception spread confusion and mistrust as people debate the existence of an apocalypse on the blog at the end of the world. Okay. A middle schooler's younger brother takes solace in the dead thing to cope with their parents' separation and erratic substance-fueled behavior. Isolated, suffering from amnesia, and exhausted from physical therapy, a person regains their wits and strength just in time for the last conversation. Every 30 years, the animal citizens of Bavaria enact a ritual without question, sacrificing one of their own to a monstrous creature in the woods, revealing the beast you are, to a cat and dog whose lives and destinies are forever altered following the disturbing and horrific ceremony. As reality slips and skitters into dark corners, writers like Tremblay keep trying to catch traces of it. That's from the New York Times Review. And these collected tales, psychologically reflective and poignant, harrowing and surreal, are a masterpiece of literary horror and the author's limitless imagination. Oh, maybe I haven't read him yet because it looks like maybe crime novels are a common thing he writes. Oh, but I did read the Pallbearers Club, didn't I? Or do I just own that? I don't know. And The Cabin at the End of the World is on my TBR. And A Head Full of Ghosts certainly seems like something I would want to read. So, I guess I'll read at least a few of these stories and decide whether or not I want to leap into a novel. All right, friends. I'm going to cut out all the stumbling, but I stumbled a lot in reading those. I must be tired. Also, I need to get my eyes checked. Or, I've just got my eyes checked not too long ago and didn't bother ordering any new glasses. I had to get my eyes checked as part of the renewal for my driver's license. And I really need new glasses. Liftbridge also has these sort of grab bag stickers where you pay $2 and you get 10 random stickers in a little bag. This one says, well-read people are less likely to be evil, which I believe that to be true. These are cute. Last thing I needed was stickers, but obviously I got 2 of the packs. Okay, friends. Don't forget, if you're interested in talking horror, fantasy, sci-fi, or any other genre fiction, to join my book club. Look at the stickers I had made for no reason except they were on sale and I'm a sucker for targeted ads. Okay. Catch you on the next one.